Greetings, Machooms! As we've officially entered our dystopian year of 2026, things somehow keep getting even more dystopian. RAM and GPU prices are going up again, corporations are thriving, and we are one bad patch away from living in Night City. So honestly, it feels like the perfect time to appreciate Cyberpunk even more, and get into it if you haven't. It's a preem game now. If you've ever wanted to make your Cyberpunk playthrough more immersive, more reactive, and more challenging without it turning into pure suffering, then these mods are absolutely preem. But before we dive in, I want to give a big shouty to the Cyberpunk modding community. Between them and the release of Phantom Liberty, the game has gone through what I can only describe as a full-on renaissance. I personally only experienced Cyberpunk in its good state, but we've all heard the horror stories from launch and the pre-DLC era. Still, even back then, I believe the game had a solid foundation. It just needed some serious fine-tuning. Let's get into the mods. So first up, we've got Dark Future, one of the biggest mods on this list. Now at its core, it's a light survival system that adds hunger, thirst, fatigue, and an anxiety mechanic. When I first installed it, I was honestly worried. I thought, is this going to turn missions into a chore? Is this going to soft lock me during long gigs? Turns out, not at all. The mod is surprisingly well balanced, and especially if you're doing a longer playthrough. You can manually tweak how often you need to eat, drink, or sleep, but default settings have been rock solid for me. What this does brilliantly is encourage behaviors you normally ignore. Things like visiting food and drink vendors, actually visiting V's apartment. The standout feature though is the anxiety bar. You'll see a small red bar right below your HP and stamina. You can see it right there, and you can also see it in your main menu, in your character inventory, in your backpack, right here, nerve for anxiety. The principle behind it is that Night City is a stressful place, and the longer you stay in combat, the more the bar drops, and it drops even faster if you're getting quick hacked. As anxiety increases, your aim gets worse, and V's hands start shaking. See, it's already shaking slightly. However, you see there, anxious. Nerve increased stamina recovery time, but reduce weapon handling and accuracy. Now this is pretty dope because it's added another layer of depth to an already pretty deep gameplay system, but in a fun way. You know, you play around it and seek to synergize it with your already existing build, and you'll get a bonus effect or a consequence if you don't play right around it. To recover anxiety, you can do things that basically make sense. Things like sleep, showering, dancing, drink, smoking, basically decompress like a human being, do relaxing activities, or fun activities, partying and stuff. Next up is Wannabe Edgerunner, and this one is chef's kiss for lore lovers, or at least enjoyers of the Edgerunner anime, because I believe it was inspired by that. Now, as someone who saw the anime before playing the game the first time, I was actually surprised the game didn't have such a feature to begin with. You know, something like a morality or humanity feature like Knights of the Old Republic. Now, I'm sure it could have been integrated better if the devs had done it, but the modders still did an excellent job to simulate that. Power comes at a cost, basically. You can go full cyber psycho. The green bar right up top, your health bar, as you can see. Now, you lose humanity when killing people or heavily relying on cyberware. Cyberware like Sandevistan, Overclock, Optical Camo, Kerenzikov, Berserk. I'm talking about the active cyberware, you know, not the passive ones. You see it right here. You lose humanity for each committed murder or after using your installed cybernetic implants. Low humanity causes a few stat penalties and can trigger cyber psychosis. Now you can tweak these to your liking. You have them once again in the mode setting. A7!
Hey, manly less than 3.
And thanks for the sub. And honestly, this is something I always felt that should have been in the base game. It makes no sense to me that V can go on a citywide murder spree with zero psychological consequences. Like, remember in the Edgerunner's anime, David was saying, I believe I'm special, and he was specialer than others. He could tolerate more cyber implants. However, even he had a limit. There will always be a limit. So when your humanity drops to low, you basically risk going cyber psycho. What you get when you go cyber psycho, you get instantly wanted on 3 stars. You'll see all red, and you're gonna get a serious debuff afterwards. That debuff is significantly powerful. How do you recover from this? Well, through relaxing ways. You sleep to overcome the cyber psychosis state. And then you recover humanity by just, you're relaxing. You can interact with a lover, you can drink, you can dance, take fucking shower. Pet your cat. Yes, you can pet your cat. Oh, hi, Mr. Nibbles, I'm sorry. Sleep is one of the main things to recover humanity. And basically you can get an increasing amount of humanity when you sleep based on the social activity you've done for the day. So yeah, you can totally manage this so it doesn't get too overwhelming. Next up, we have another big mod, which is called Night City Alive, and this will pair excellently with the next mod we have. This is basically chaos everywhere. A mod that massively expands NPC and gang activity across the city. You can just read it here. It even has a trailer. It's absolutely awesome. Here you can see it in action, and this is just the start of a conflict. Like, we have a Maelstrom fanatic, and the 6-3 just joined, and that was a scav. Yeah, it's a scav. Oh, NCPD can join too. You'll have random gang encounters, which were always a thing before, but let's face it, they didn't happen nearly as often. You just see them sporadically. Now, you're gonna see them a lot more often. And this is honestly one of my favorite parts of open world games. That feeling of unpredictability and chaos, that can happen, oh my god, in everyone's playthrough, and these things can cause literally huge roadblocks. Now what you're seeing here is something small compared to what can happen, and even this is big. I've seen fights with like 20 plus people, and these can keep escalating as more and more join. It's honestly quite a spectacle to see, and you can either join in, take a side, kill everyone, or maybe do what I did just now and wait for the chaos to end and start looting. How this works is that Gangoons will basically drive around town a lot more. You're gonna see them in cars, and they are rival faction. They'll even step down out of cars to shoot at each other. And whether it's on foot or even in car chases, that can also be quite fun. You generally feel like Night City is living its own life. And now, to make this even better, we have They Will Remember, but consequences matter. Now, this pairs perfectly with Night City Alive. So what this does is basically have gangs actually remember you've been messing with them for a few days. How long it lasts is configurable. Personally, I reduce it from the 7 days, which was the default, to 3. You can see this right here on your right above your character screen. And this might get a bit confusing initially, but you'll get the hang of it. This is the number of days that are still remaining until the faction that went hostile on you. I believe the trigger is around 20 something kills. It's customizable once again. All these mods are customizable. That's one of the beauty of it. You can leave it on default, but if you find that too much, like I found the 7 days, it was too much to wait 7 days for them to reset again, because the traveling Night City can become quite the struggle to get things done. So I guess that's one bad side of the mod, but it can also make you plan your routes better. This mod can make the game significantly harder, especially early on. I still remember when I was around the north side of Watson, which is an area most people will tackle pretty early on if they want to. And every corner felt hostile, because obviously you're gonna be facing Maelstrom goons a lot. Now, there are ways to mitigate this, like if you do missions stealthily with takedowns, or even if you do non-lethal kills, there's less of a chance that they'll turn hostile on you. But I had a very balls deep build, shall we say, explosive and loud, V build using shotguns, body, perks, machine gun, fists, with a bit of reflexes and pyromania. So no stealth in this build. And you basically had Maelstrom goons at every corner turning hostile on me. It was actually super immersive, feeling like I'm truly on a hit list against this gang. Like, I beat up their boys and they were not having it. It does make you plan out your route better. Like, for instance, if a certain district is hostile against you, well, the gangs there that own the turf, you might want to hang around in another district till things chill here for a few days. And, you know, today I'll do gigs in Santo Domingo, today I'll do gigs in Haywood, today I'll do gigs in Watson Northside. Now, there are actually ways to get around this, of course, because there's always a solution, and that's what I like about them. A lot of the clothes will be tagged per faction. You can see there Aldecados, you see this Maelstrom, and you can basically form faction-specific outfits. For instance, let's go to the Maelstrom ones. You'll see the percentage increase here, and your disguise percentage. Now, the bigger this is, the less chance they're gonna detect you. And you'll also need to cover up your face, else they're gonna smell a rat, they're gonna see your face, they're not gonna recognize you, and they're gonna turn hostile against you because you're dressed as one of them. This won't always be reliable, but if you get it right, you can even have them as allies for specific fights. You'll see them green. And if you're worried about the main quests, those are, for the most part, unaffected. I've had no trouble with them. Last but definitely not least, we're talking about a mod called Lifepath bonuses and Gang-corp traits. Now, besides Wannabe Edgerunner, this is the other mod I've also played with on my first run, so I'm familiar with it. And I prefer playing with it to the point that when I'm gonna play without it, I'm curious how the game will feel. Probably less varied, I guess. So what this mod does is makes factions meaningfully different. So when scanning enemies, you're gonna see a couple of different traits down on the bottom. For instance, Tiger Claws. Immune to burning, 50% explosion damage taken only, and jams 80% of smart bullets. Immune to ultimate quick hacks and opposed to Nomad Lifepath. Now, some of these are a bit nonsensical, but some of those make sense. For instance, Tiger Claws are known for using smart weapons. So it would make sense they would also know how to counter smart weapons. If you, for instance, face Militech, canonically known to be one of the main developers, if not the main developer of tech weapons, so it obviously would make sense that they're also better equipped against them. In scenarios like this, they can really change how you'll approach the fight. For instance, if you're someone relying only on tech weapons and headshots, think again, because these guys will take 50% reduced damage from your tech weapons and 50% reduced damage from headshots. Use it wisely. You might not like this. For instance, if you're someone that prefers using a single type of weapon, you'll probably not like it because it's gonna make some encounters way more difficult than others. However, if you enjoy variety, it encourages you to add a bit more flexibility to your build and play around with various weapons. Enemies will always have a weakness. Like even when I was rocking my cool build V, I was having a baseball bat I sometimes pulled off, and I had an explosive weapon, a tech weapon, and something else, a pistol with a silencer. Sometimes I switch between two pistols. Especially after Phantom Liberty, the game showers you iconics and cool iconics like that, so hey, it gives you a chance to play with them. And that about covers it, guys. So all these mods together, plus a few small ones I'll link below, can elevate Cyberpunk2077 to a level where you might not crave GTA 6 for a while. If you've made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. Consider dropping a like, sub, or follow on Twitch if you want to hang out during my streams. I'm a fairly new streamer focused on RPGs, action, or turn-based, and Cyberpunk is a game I'll always come back to every now and then. It's now one of the best AAA games, an actual good AAA game. I know they still exist, thankfully, even in the West. Rarely, but they exist. And it takes a lot of work, not just from the devs, but apparently for the modding community too. But hey, it eventually happens. And the deeper you dig, the more you appreciate it. That's it from me, Chooms. Peace out, and never fade away.